Most of the research that I do currently is related to web security, web vulnerabilities, and how malware can take advantage of vulnerabilities inside websites in order to spread. So I came here today from Virus Bulletin, which is like the biggest antivirus industry conference. It's happening in Geneva right now, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. I will try to do the presentation as fast as I can because I have to catch a flight at 9 p.m. So we'll talk today about Web 2.0, social networking threats. We'll try to take a look at the general structure of a Web 2.0 attack. We'll look at how technical vulnerabilities can lead to a computer infection, how the human mind also plays a role in this game. We'll take a look at Coopface, the hottest worm nowadays, the social networking worm. And we'll see some recent examples of incidents that happened over social networks. Sounds complicated, so I will start with a simple question. Do you know who this guy is? Does anybody watch Formula 1 around here? Name? Jenson Button, yeah, it's exactly him. So I was watching the Formula 1 race while I was working on this presentation a few weekends back. And after the race, I logged into Brown GP's website just to check out more information about this team. And what I've seen in the lower right corner of the website were links to some social networks. It's YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. And it came to my mind that, well, social networks must be pretty important because basically all websites right now are somehow linking to them. Much more simple question. Does anybody know who this guy is? He looks like Kanye West. No? Okay, oh wow. All right. Yeah, so I also went to his website after he got elected. His new website is called whitehouse.gov. So on the White House website, what do I see in the box to the right? Links to Facebook, Twitter, Flickr, MySpace, and all the social networks there is. The interesting thing is that this box is actually on top of the 2010 budget information box and on top of the financial recovery box. So it must be pretty important for him also. Recently, the Pope opened up this new website. Really, it's pope2u.net. It's actually the Pope's website. He's trying to use social networks in order to get in touch with the young believers, with the young generation. Yeah, this is probably a news piece that you've heard about. Iran has banned Facebook ahead of the national elections, which again shows the importance of social networks. A Russian firm recently invested a couple of $100 million in Facebook after Microsoft did this a few years back. And last week, Facebook reached the milestone of 300 million users. And that's almost equal to the population of the United States. So it's getting pretty big. But anyway, what is Web 2.0? Everybody's talking about it. Can anybody tell me what is Web 2.0 in 1 or 2 words? Just give it a shot. Everything. Okay. Interaction, yeah, interaction. Interaction is a very good keyword because Web 2.0 means user-generated content. It means collaboration, mobility, flexibility of the content, and all the content that is happening right now on the Web 2.0 is made by the people who socialize, the people who interact. This is why I said it's a very good keyword. And in order to sustain all these concepts of collaboration, mobility, flexibility, and socializing, there were several technologies that were developed along the years and are still being developed right now. Technologies with fancy acronyms like AJAX, RSS, XML, APIs, things like this, but we're not going to go into technical details about the technologies that stay behind Web 2.0. So Web 2.0 is hot, it's sexy, everybody's talking about it. I like to think of Web 2.0 as a pink, well, purple candy. Candy that is very attractive to a little child, but what the child doesn't know is that inside this pink warping of the candy, there are actually new vectors of attack, new attack vectors, new ways that the bad guys can use in order to infect us, in order to get into the computers that we use every day. So Web 2.0 is the candy, and the child that is so attracted to the candy is the average computer user. YouTube. Has anyone watched a YouTube clip in the last week? I think everybody here. Yeah, this is a pretty good example, a pretty simple one of how bad guys are trying to divert legitimate traffic from YouTube towards their websites that are hosting malicious content. Dig.com, a website that is more popular among the geek side of the Web 2.0 community. Again, malicious comments that are trying to redirect legitimate traffic towards websites that are spreading malicious content. If you're trying to read it, it's a comment to an article speaking about Heath Ledger and the Oscars. And the comment is actually, well, if you want to see a video of Heath Ledger private in the shower, you should click on that link. But this showcases a very good example of how Web 2.0 enables cyber criminals to launch personalized attacks, to launch contextualized attacks. Because everybody is sharing so much information on social networks right now that it's very easily for the bad guys to deliver attacks, to deliver social engineering techniques that are personalized to what the user wants. So if the user wants to see a video of Heath Ledger, the malware will come into the form of a video with Heath Ledger. Twitter, I don't know, are you on Twitter? Wow, cool, you should follow me. I will give you my Twitter nickname later in the presentation. Again, malware is also using Twitter in order to spread. We'll talk about this later. LinkedIn, I think everybody's on LinkedIn. The same malicious profiles redirecting traffic to malicious websites. And in order for you to see the gravity of the situation, I've put these two graphs into this slide. These are the total number of malicious software samples that are using social networks in order to spread. We are calculating this by searching for strings in the malicious software sample, strings that are containing the URLs of the social networks. So at the end of 2008, the total of the malicious software samples that are using social networks in order to spread was somewhere around 43,000. Out of these 43,000, more than 26,000 were discovered in 2008 alone. So more than half were in 2008. 2007, again, it's the half of 2008. So we can easily say that we are witnessing an exponential growth of threats in social networks because the numbers prove it. It will also be interesting to see at the end of the year what the number will be. My guess is that it will exceed 100,000. So in order to keep the growth line growing. But anyway, we've seen how the traffic is going from the social networks towards malicious websites. But what is happening once the user reaches such a malicious website? And the bad guys are taking advantage of two different things. It's the human factor and the technical factor, the human vulnerabilities and the technical vulnerabilities. When talking about technical vulnerabilities, there are the exploits, the zero-day attacks, the attacks that are work even if the user has the latest version of the software because a patch wasn't yet released, it wasn't yet issued. But also, it doesn't have to be a zero-day vulnerability. It doesn't have to be a new vulnerability. There are so many people nowadays that are using outdated software. There are people that are using pirated software. They don't have access to patches. They don't have access to updates. So their computers can easily get infected by the exploit kits that Georg was talking about earlier, for example. Also, there's the human factor. Eugene was in Romania a few days ago, and at that event, he was telling to the people that the most secure computer in the world would be a computer that is in somebody's basement, completely shut down, totally disconnected from the internet or from the power lines, and the user must be sleeping or dead. That's the most secure computer, because if the user is awake, they can do crazy stuff, like Magnus was talking about earlier. They can even uninstall the real antivirus solution to install a rogue antivirus solution. So the user's mind is a little bit tricky, and this is why we're trying to educate the users to create some level of security awareness around them. And yeah, to exploit the human mind, the bad guys are using social engineering techniques. They're taking advantage of curious and naive users, and they're exploiting the trust that we have in each other. Because when we interact in social networks, we interact with our friends, we interact with the people that we know. So we create a level of trust between one another. And this is the trust that the bad guys are trying to exploit.